Welcome back to Exotic Car Play Place, everyone. Thanks for joining in on this beautiful sunny afternoon. Today, if you had one day left on Earth, maybe it's time to spend those earnings that you've saved up so very long for. Maybe it's just time to enjoy the better things in life. Whatever your reason, guys, I'm going to share with you the list of the best automotive performance specialty cars available in the market today. If you have one car that you have to buy, better be on this list. Let's get into it now. Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Mark with Exotic Car Play Place. And today, so the first car on the bucket list that you guys really should consider buying is the 911 Turbo. Now, these cars came out in 1975. They had a 3-liter turbocharged engine, no intercooler, small wimpy brakes from the 911S car. But it didn't take very long to realize the brakes were underrated. Of course, in Porsche fashion, they always had to up things. So in 78, they came up with a 3.3-liter. They went with an intercooler and they increased the brake size. Became a much better car. Then they more or less carried that through to 89, where they all of a sudden had a 5-speed manual gearbox introduced, because up to that point it was always a 4-speed manual. Then as you went along, you had into the C2 generation of cars, subtle bumper changes, but largely the same car, 3.3-liter. Then they tweaked it to the 3.6 for 1 year. Then along came the 993 twin turbo. Big change. All-wheel drive system, twin turbos, so it had 2 turbos, double intercooler core, all-wheel drive, huge fast, 400 horsepower, is still a legendary car by today's standards. And of course, one common trait is they've always shared those bug eyes. The rear engine design and the overall style of the car is very much the same. It's a Grand Tourer, 2 main front seats with 2 little minuscule seats in the back. That hasn't changed. Then along came the 996 Turbo, which happened in 2001, and it's really not a major favorite because it had a kidney bean style of headlights. Other than that, it was a huge move forward for Porsche because now they introduced liquid cooling to the engine in the 996 Turbo. You could also get a Tiptronic automatic or a 6-speed manual. So they were moving things forward. Didn't take very long for Porsche to realize, you know what, we had a transition, but they weren't well loved. However, they're still a great car on their own right. They still carry the Metzger engine, and honestly, the 996 Turbo is arguably technically one of the best 911 turbos available today. A 991 Turbo, which we have more or less in front of us. This personally is the best of the 911 turbos to date. This features either a PDK, so a dual clutch transmission, or a manual gearbox is available. Launch control. Testers actually tried to beat on that car with multiple aggressive PDK hard launches and could not break it. These cars are unbreakable. They're extremely fast and very reliable for the level of performance that these cars provide. They're almost bulletproof. The 911 Turbo has transitioned through many faces through the years. The value holds, and quite frankly, this is a must car have, simply because this general body style has been around since the 50s and transitioned now all the way through today, where we currently are expecting the new 992 generation twin turbo to come out, and it will be every bit as fast as a McLaren 720S. So Porsche is doing their homework. The 911 Turbo is really the car you need to have. So the second bucket list car on the list that you have to try, you really do, everybody, and it's because it's so unique, and it's the Jaguar FType R. Specifically the R, or the SVR is also equally good. Why is this so legendary? Why is this a bucket list car? Well, other than the fact that Jaguar has had a racing heritage that goes several decades ago. This isn't just a fly-by-night car. This is a carryover from Jaguar's legendary racing heritage. But even more important than that, lots of cars have heritage and racing heritage. The better thing about this, it has an incredible 550 supercharged horsepower out of 5 liters displacement under that hood. Now these cars have a flip-up hood, they have massive brakes, all-wheel drive, because the first generation were just too much power to keep those rear wheels planted. These cars are insane amounts of fun. They make some of the sickest noise from a factory car that you can possibly imagine. Between the sights, the sounds, the acceleration, 0 to 60, 3.5 seconds, there's really nothing this car can't provide you for the driving experience. Match that with the luxury that is second to none. There's really nothing else you need by buying a Jaguar F-Type R. The only exception would be possibly a manual gearbox or a DCT, which this comes with an 8-speed auto. Other than that, this car is truly an animal, a beast of all beasts, and one of the real memorable cars. It will be a shame if it ever goes away. So for now, I would say Get your hands on one of these, or at least get behind the wheel of one of these F-Type Rs. They are not only spectacular to hear, they're spectacular to drive, and they're also spectacular to look at. Look at the hips on that. One of the best cars to get on your bucket list, the F-Type R. And so the next car on my list actually goes to a Mercedes, but more specifically, the AMG Mercedes, the GT series. What do we have here? 7-speed double clutch transmission tucked away under there. You have a 4-liter V8, that's 2 turbos compressing the air for that engine. You've got great touches. How about this? Carbon fiber front lip, massive Mercedes symbol telling you that the star, hey, we're a serious machine. This engine produces around 550 horsepower in this configuration. It is a wonderful car. Look at this carbon fiber splitter. How about carbon fiber mirror on there as well? Convertible, great for sunny driving. How about the size of those wheels? They're just massive. Wow. And as well, you've got this beautiful wraparound taillights. If you like the front engine rear drive car, this is one of the kings of cars for that. You've got these rear vents, big exhausts on both ends. You've also got this wonderful carbon fiber wraparound here. You know how much money that must cost to put on some aftermarket configuration? GTC, what can you say? Wonderful car through and through. The interior of these cars is absolutely magnificent. Got hood vents, lots of indicators that this is one of the kings. Wonderful car through and through. This really is a must drive at some point in your life. Even if you can go for a ride in this car has such stage presence, such performance. It's a beauty through and through. Get your hands on one of these GTCs and you'll be loving life. So the next car on the bucket list that you have to really try is BMW's Essence. What's their Essence cars essentially are the M3 or M4 cars, just like what I have back here. This is an M4 Club Sport. How do you know Club Sport other than the fact that it says it on the back? M4 CS, you've got upgraded exhaust, cool little accents, aggressive brakes for sure, no doubt about it. Pilot Sport Cup 2 tires. You've got all the regular gambits that you'd find on the normal M4, but they add a few extras. You've got this more aggressive indented hood here, carbon fiber front spoiler or splitter here. You've got lots of great features on this car, but this car really is meant for the track environment. Now, everybody who knows anything about the BMW world knows that the M3 started out back in the E30 generation with the 4-cylinder engine that put out a lot of power. But they've transitioned through the years. They've gone to 2 doors, 4 doors in the M3. Then a few years back, they transitioned to dedicated models where now the M4 is the coupe and the M3 is the 4-door sedan. Either or, the chassis is more or less the same. You can't go wrong because the M3 and the M4 are in essence the best of the best. Now, BMW is known for its nimble handling, aggressive performance, sounds, the feel, the dial in, the throttle response. This is what BMW is known for. You need to give it a try because that is everything that put BMW on the map, is essentially their M division cars. That's what these cars really are about. Now this car here, you're talking more or less 450 some odd horsepower. You can either get a manual gearbox if you get standard M4s, or M3s. You can get a DCT, 7-speed dual clutch transmission, better for the track environment. But for the engaging experience, you want to get the manual transmission. These cars are spectacularly good, and they're very sturdy, so they can tolerate a lot of modifications. Now, let's not forget, there's a few things, carbon buildup, and the one thing being the crank hub issue. But forget about it. At the end of the day, if you've never driven a 3-liter twin-turbo BMW engine, you need to try one today. So the next car on my bucket list is actually, is it the M5? No, not necessarily. It's a phenomenal car and really is true to the essence of BMW. But how about something a little bit more unique, like this? This is the M8 Competition, which essentially shares the same drivetrain as you get in the M5. This has a 600 horsepower, 4.4-liter V8 engine that makes, like I say, 600 ponies. That's strapped to an 8-speed automatic ZF gearbox, makes it very drivable, but very quick shifting. Now you get all the luxury amenities that you would expect from a BMW. Just look at the seats, they're Q-stitched, just a lovely place to sit. And besides that, these cars have lots of great touches. You've got carbon fiber around the exhaust, great little accents throughout that sort of grab the eye, some great styling cues. You've got these wonderful big hips here, which give it that extra shape. Carbon fiber mirrors, carbon fiber here, carbon fiber on the front splitter here, and carbon fiber as well. There lots of carbon, and it should have lots of carbon because these come at a cost. This is a serious dollar car, serious financial commitment to get behind the wheel of one of these. But if you ever get the chance, this car is a keeper. It has serious, I can't even tell you, breathtaking performance with 0 to 60 mile per hour numbers of under 3 seconds. And of course, these cars are all-wheel drive with a heavy rear-wheel drive bias. You can actually disable the front wheels and drive this like a real hooligan on the racetrack, which in fact is essentially racetrack capable. The only thing is I would suggest putting on the carbon ceramic as an upgrade if you're going to take it to the track. Regardless, these cars are an absolute wonder, and you need to try one of these as a bucket list car. If there was a bucket list car, the Corvette like this surely is got to be on that list. Now, sure, they're not the most exotic, and they're certainly not the most unique cars out there. As a matter of fact, there's lots of Corvettes you'll find on the road. Any given day, you'll see lots of them drive around, but that's a reason for that. They're so popular because they're hard to deny. They're great looking cars, they're fast, they're quick, they're stylish, they're relatively affordable. And this is a Stingray that we're looking at. This is a C7. Now, currently the C8 is just coming out. That's the new mid-engine. This is the last of the front-engine rear drive cars. Now, of course, these cars you can get a manual gearbox, you can get an automatic. They're great. But this is the Stingray. This is the base model. So if you really want to taste the essence of a Corvette, get behind the wheel of a current C7 like this, but the Z06 with 650 horse, or the ZR1 that has 750 horse. Those cars are absolute beasts on the street. And of course you can get them with a manual gearbox or an automatic transmission. They're great. But now the C8 has come out. The brand new C8 is mid-engine, dual clutch transmission, and it is an absolute animal. So far the Stingray is the only one available with 500 horsepower, but believe me, it's swinging above its weight class, and it's faster than the outgoing Z06 with 650 horse. So you really do have to check out the C8. All things considered, even with quality control issues along the way, these cars are hard to deny. For the price point, they're fast, furious, and they look amazing. Thanks a lot, everyone. I know you enjoyed the video. Hey, if you did, be sure to subscribe to the channel down there if you're not already a subscriber. If you are, thanks a lot, everybody. I really appreciate that. Thanks again, everybody. I hope to see you on the next one. Catch you then. Bye-bye.